So now we want to focus on the sign of various trig functions within the four quadrants. So first, we want to identify the quadrant or quadrants. I have the S in parentheses here, so I'm not giving away if this is going to work for one quadrant or multiple quadrants. Quadrants of angle A where, so first of all, cosine A is positive, greater than 0, and cotangent of A is negative, less than 0. So I'm going to draw a little xy plane here. Cosine, remember, is equal to the ratio x over r, where r is always positive. So if x over r is positive, then that means that x must be positive. All right, so if x is positive, well, that's true in two quadrants. That's true in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 4. In each of these quadrants, x is positive. Cotangent is equal to, it's the ratio x over y. So cotangent A is negative when x and y have opposite sign. So this will overall be negative when either x is positive and y is negative, or x is negative and y is positive. You just need x and y to have opposite signs. Now, we're already committed to, we know our answer has to be quadrant 1 and or quadrant 4 in order for this to be true. So we can just focus on these two options. In quadrant 1, x and y are both positive. So cotangent will not be negative in quadrant 1. In quadrant 4, in quadrant 4, x is positive and y is negative. So x over y will be negative. And so the only quadrant that works for this first part of the question is quadrant 4. That would be your answer. I'll put that over here. Okay. Next example here. So find the quadrant where, first of all, sine is less than 0. So sine is negative. Sine is equal to the ratio y over r. It's really helpful to memorize these definitions. There's a lot of memorization in these trig units. But so y over r is negative if y is negative. Because remember, r is always positive. So we need to first, it's kind of similar to what I did in this first example, I want to narrow it down to the quadrants where y is negative. So y is negative below the x-axis. So in quadrant 3 and in quadrant 4. So now we know whatever our answers are, it's got to be quadrant 3 and or quadrant 4 in order to satisfy this first condition. If we move over to the second condition, cosine of A is less than, or cosecant, I should say, cosecant of A is less than 0. Cosecant is equal to the ratio r over y. Actually, it's just the reciprocal of sine. Right? And so r over y is negative if y is negative, because again, r is always positive. So really, the only requirement in order for cosecant of A to be less than 0 is, again, if y is negative. Well, y is negative here and here. So in this case, we have two solutions, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4.